From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, I'm Rob Cairns. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief digital strategist at Stunning Digital Marketing. In this edition of Agency Chat with Ryan Waterbury, Ryan and I talk about CMSs and why you need for your business to look at alternatives. This is one chat you don't want to miss, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, Stunning Digital Marketing is your digital concierge. We help you put the pieces together to make your marketing success. Specialties we have including WordPress design and development, WordPress security, which is one of our most popular offerings, ads, and more. So if you want to succeed in the digital world, go on over to stunningdigitalmarketing.com and have a look at what we offer, and we'd be glad to help you. And let's jump on a call and make it happen. That's stunningdigitalmarketing.com.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, Rob Cairns here. Today's podcast, I'm here with our regular agency session with Mr. Ryan Waterbury. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing good. And it is our busy time of year, and we are packed with work. So that makes me happy.
Yeah, and neither one of us are living in Tampa Bay at the time of this speaking. At time of this recording, there's a Category 5 hurricane about to hit Tampa head on, so I'm happy because I'm thousands of miles away from that mess.
I, I'm very happy to be in almost Canada where we don't have snakes,
Yep.
hurricanes, and very few tornadoes.
What I will say is I wish our American Floridian friends well. I have family, as you know, in Tallahassee area, so they got hit hard recently. So I hope Tampa does okay. That's the start of that. Um,
Me
today,
too.
today I thought I'd jump into, or we thought we'd jump into alternative, really alternative CMSs, content management systems. And I'm not going to drudge up drama that's already happened, but one of the reasons we talked about this is as business owners, it's a bad idea to pigeon any business, whether it's a CMS, whether it's ads, whether anything on one platform. And I think we can dive into ads a little bit too, because I have an interesting story to tell there. But the point is, you got to look for alternatives. And what kind of caused all this was the WordPress drama going on. And without getting into that again, all I know is business owners need to have options. So let's go there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago in one of our first joint podcasts. We talked about don't put your all of your business on rented land.
Yep,
And
we did.
at that time we were talking about businesses that only use Google My Business or only had a Facebook page and no website.
Hmm.
And we had talked about the benefits of WordPress being an open source CMS and you own your data. But with, like you said, with the drama, I don't really want to get into it. There's been plenty of podcasts about that, but we're finding out that it's not truly as open as we thought, and it's becoming more rented land again. So uh, there are, it does power about 40% of the web, but it's not the only CMS out there, paid or open source. There are a lot of other options out there that, honestly, as I've been doing WordPress work pretty much exclusively since 2014 to now. Prior to that, I had managed a handful of Drupal sites and did work in that realm, and then made the switch just because there was a lot more growth in the small business market at the time. Um, that's changed with a lot of the DIY platforms have gotten better. We
Hmm.
talk about Wix is actively doing a lot of good things to be developer friendly, improve their SEO. Squarespace is also doing that. Even some of the other open platforms like Weebly have really improved their e-commerce portions of their options. And I'm not even touching on, any of the other open CMSs out there, but we need to sit down and think about WordPress isn't always the best solution. And there are a lot of options out there that both paid and free open source that might be a better fit. So with the stir that we talked about, I think it's time to look out there again and see what else is out there and what might be a better fit for a client.
I would agree with you. I was sharing with you in a chat we had, and those who don't know, Ryan and I chat pretty frequently, at least in text every day, and probably by voice every couple of days, right? Just to kind of help each other,
Yeah.
because that's what we do.
Hmm.
And we were chatting about this, and I said, even my favorite shared host, a shout out to my good friend Mr. Owen Grease, who's well known in the community, runs a shared host out of BC called Billy Host. And even he's now about to introduce a closed website building platform that's very similar to a platform that runs right out of cPanel. And I've kind of been playing around with it a little bit. And one of the things I'm looking at using it for, believe it or not, it's for some clients who want quick 3, 4 page brochure sites. And I really think, I hate to say it, I think with everything that's gone on, all the options and clients being budget constrained, maybe a web builder for building a 3, 4 page brochure site is actually a good idea instead of using a full blown CMS.
I absolutely. And some of the things I didn't like about those platforms. Now, I talked about Squarespace and Wix, and even the, closed site builders. I Those would be my second choice. Although
Mm-hmm.
they're not a bad choice for a lot of people. And if you're just starting out, it's a great way to start. They do have their limitations. It's hard to get your data out, so you're starting over. But when it comes packaged with shared hosting, it's attractive to a lot of business owners that, frankly, today don't have a lot of cash and just want to spin something up
Yep.
quickly and easily just to get a business card site out there and a brochure site. And they're great for that. Now, the next step of that, I mentioned Drupal, and I really liked it. It was really great for dynamic driven design, much better than WordPress in its early days. WordPress has come a long way, but
Mm-hmm.
they've got a new initiative where they've realized that they're an enterprise only solution, and that's where their niche is. So they have StarShot and some new page building tools that are aimed at the DIYers and small business owners that hopefully will bring some new life to that platform. You know, as you know, uh, Matt Mullenweg offered Gutenberg and a huge investment, and they basically said, "We don't like it. We're already doing our own thing," which is great. I think competition breeds better products for everyone.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And it's funny, I was thinking back to days before I got into web the other day, and we did a cross site that we had an agency do for us at one time before I was doing this kind of stuff. And they used a CMS. I'm trying to think like Bakery CMS or something, some free open source CMS to build it. So there's all kinds of options out there. I think you just have to look at them. And I'm with you. Like one of the things I've done is I've taken my test domain and I've spun up about 4 different instances. And I'm not saying I'm abandoning WordPress. What I'm saying is I'm looking at alternatives because at the end of the day, I don't think the average client really cares unless they've got a WordPress site and then they're going to go for something WordPress specific. And that's a different ballgame. But if they're building a new site from scratch, as long as they get leads, which convert to sales, the client could be using Bugs Bunny CMS for all I care. And if they're making money, they're going to be happy, right? I mean, that's the reality of it.
Absolutely. And that's really what it comes down to. And, you know, I built the core of my business on, you get a website when I do your local SEO and your paid ads management. Both at the time it was Facebook and Google, pretty integrated
Yep.
in the late teens and into 2020. A lot of local SEO for restaurants, independent travel agents, all the things that got shut down.
Hmm.
So, I shifted back into design and development because the marketing budgets were gone for a while. But what really worked for me and how I was able to grow my team and what I'm doing again was on the other platforms, and your website is the hub and the other pieces are the spokes, where we're not doing all of our marketing initiatives on one single platform. Now, I have pushed in recent years because WordPress had grown enough and was mature enough to internalize some of these external apps like CRMs and email marketing. And I
Hmm.
still think those tools are nice, but when I work with clients now and they're getting their leads from Google Ads, their Google My Business page, that we've optimized, Facebook ads, organic, social media as well, and then content on the website. And honestly, Google has really changed, and then in the advent of AI, they're really crawling the content more. And technical SEO, as it's still important, but it's not as important. So that's where we're starting to see platform agnostic, where platforms that weren't as strong in the technical half, like I said, Wix was not one of them. It was great. Shopify's long, confusing URLs weren't great.
Yep.
That's becoming more irrelevant. And these platforms that didn't do well in search actually are starting to get on equal footing to where WordPress was. And I
Yep.
think they're worth a look.
And I'll give you another one just to throw it out there. It's Square. Does most people don't know that Square offers free e-commerce website pages? And the reason I mention that is you're a small business owner. You've got, say, three products versus very niche products. Building out a Woo site is not overkill. And you can set up Square to take payments really easy and then point a domain to the shop pages and set that up probably within a couple hours and trying to take money away off table for you and I. But for a small business owner, that might be an easier way to go than building a full site, to be honest with you.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes it's whoever's first to market. And if you
Yep.
can get sales out there and you have a viral video and you have a shop page at Square, you can scale that up pretty quickly and make sales. And that's the important thing. It At the end of the day, I'm an implementer and a marketer. I love doing development. I consider myself an average full stack developer. And that's the other part of what some of these other open source platforms are becoming more attractive to me.
Mhm.
There's more, you need a little bit more dev chops to do some of the special things where we'd look at the WordPress ecosystem. There's probably a plugin to do what you want to do already that can be extended. But if you
Yep.
look at other platforms, the open source PHP ones, you might need to write a little bit more code. And so that's where, I kind of differentiate that. You have your DIY visual site builders, Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, and Shopify does have some dev capabilities, but it's not great. I've tried. I mean, and even BigCommerce is another solution
Hmm.
for e-commerce. They're out there, and there's some wonderful themes and add-ons for all those platforms to do booking, e-commerce,
Yep.
blogging, and everything that you would want to do on a WordPress site, and you can do it faster. I got to
Yep.
be honest.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll give you, let's go to another example. You've got a WordPress site and you're going to sell one ebook. And we all know our friend Mr. Devinder at WP Weekly, shout out to the best newsletter for news on the internet for WordPress, uses Gumroad for stuff like that. So what we got to start looking too at more at is hybrid solutions. Um, Email marketing is another one. A lot of people like you, like Fluent CRM. I know Bob Dunn uses Jetpack
Hmm?
for his newsletter built in, fine. There's my friend Adrian Toby has got Groundhog. A shout out to Adrian, great product. But if you're doing just a basic newsletter, throw one more out there for you. Spend the $50 and find a product called SendFox by AppSumo. I mean, I use SendFox for my base newsletter because frankly, it's easy. It's no frills. It looks fine and it gets it out there. And as you know, and most listeners to this podcast know, I've moved my podcast newsletter actually to Substack. Again, a hybrid solution. And people are saying, why? And if you happen to go over to my website these days, there's a big banner at the top that says, join this podcast Substack here. Because frankly, it's a better solution for community than just using a open source WordPress solution.
The other thing is if you don't even have the chops or the time to do anything other than a newsletter,
Yep.
MailChimp, Constant Contact, MailerLite, they all have landing page builders. So let's say you're
Yep.
running an event, you're a small startup nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
You have a list of people that are interested in supporting your cause. Go to
Yep.
MailChimp. You want to run an event, set up a landing page and direct the ticket sales to Eventbrite. There's an integration for that. You don't have to have a full-blown site these days in order to really do some work. I
I
strongly recommend owning your data and being on an open platform because, being on somebody else's land, rented land, if they change their terms, you can lose everything in a minute.
mhm.
But they're great ways to start, and they
Yep.
shouldn't be overlooked anymore at all.
Yep. I have a client who's on the East Coast in the dating space, and we're building out a website. And you mentioned tickets and events using Eventbrite. Most people don't realize Eventbrite will give you the HTML code, embed it right in the ticket sales right in your website, make it easy. And I said to her, you got a couple options. I can build this out in WooCommerce. It'll cost you double. Or you can, for another 0.2 or 0.3%, you can offload it all, including payment processing, the Eventbrite, and be done with it. And it's for her, honestly, it'll probably be easier to manage than managing a loose store, to be fair. So you also got to look at what's the capability of the site owner and what do they need. And maybe a full blown site isn't the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, my customers come to me because they're small business owners that had done DIY routes. And they're in the growth mindset and they need marketing help and they want somebody
Mm-hmm.
to manage those things. And, we've seen this more often lately, but you'll see fractional CMOs, contracted, where businesses are starting to come around again to outsourcing specific parts of their business,
Yep.
and especially the small ones. I mean, I've looked at it and, we talked about that on our last podcast. I have an accountant, but now I'm bringing on bookkeeping. It's not difficult, but, I don't have the time and I'm in a growth mindset. So I'm going to outsource that. That's great.
Yep.
For clients that want to outsource it and they want to grow and do flexible solutions, I will build, with the tools that I've invested in. And that was the other thing I wanted to come around to as an agency owner. WordPress still, for me, makes a lot of sense because I have a lot of tools that I've invested in, both lifetime deals and agency licenses,
Me too.
where I can subsidize those costs, for my clients versus them going out and, building on another platform. When you start looking at Shopify, Squarespace, Wix, every level that you want to get higher, and Shopify is probably the worst, where every add-on that you need to do something special,
Costs.
it costs you, and it used to be a $5 add-on. Now it's like $50 per month.
Yep.
So a lot of those things add up, and that's where you have to start looking. Is this platform, really good for me now?
Yep.
Or
You
is it
kind of
good to get into? But
you
you're right.
kind of
Those customers that have that one or two product piece and they don't need anything more, they're not going to do anything more than that. You use a simpler platform.
you kind of got to look at with Shopify, as far as I'm concerned. Do you want to, uh, what you want to do? And do you want to change payment processors? Because one of the problems with Shopify is, I happen to know, is if you don't use their payment processor, they charge you more per transaction. So you just got to sort of look at it and say, okay, what is right for me as a business owner? And I think as agencies, like let's talk about the agency side a little bit. You need to stop selling WordPress as the solution with a couple of exceptions. Number one, I offer WordPress security services. That's very niche. So that is a WordPress sell. Number two, hosting. Well, we know what issues the hosting companies have with their verbiage. Number three, um, you need to stop, unless you're a plugin or a theme manufacturer that's geared specifically to WordPress, that's different. But beyond that, if you're building a website for a business owner, please sell that this website will get you traffic and leads, which generate the sales. Because frankly, the business owner doesn't care what platform you're using.
No, at the end of the day, what they want to see are leads. And I've had
Mm,
this discussion with a lot of my clients, and um, they come to me because they want a solution.
yep.
And so my clients recently in greater numbers, even my PPC clients and SEO clients are asking about email marketing and
Hmm.
other marketing solutions. It doesn't matter what landing page that I drive them to, as long as it's optimized and it converts for them and that they
Yep.
get leads in their inbox.
Yep.
We look at what platform's working the best. Honestly, I've shuffled budgets with one of my clients from doing SEO, building that organic up, and then looking at where we're spending our Google ad spend on within that network and Facebook and how that works together. And we do a lot of testing, but you know what? None of it's from any single source. And we know the ones that work best, but we also catch really solid leads from all those platforms.
Hmm.
And they don't care
I,
where they come from. They have an interest that their money's being spent well, but at the end of the day, they're seeing a huge return on ad spend because they have leads coming in the inbox.
no question. And the reality is, and I don't care what clients say, 99% of the clients that tell you I want access to my website backend will never log into it. And then the other 1% that will log into it are the ones that are going to cause you and I grief because they're going to play around and do stuff and insist they have admin rights. And we all know where that conversation goes, don't we? As you
Yeah.
sigh.
I can tell you that I run my own mail servers, just a little side story. And I
Yeah.
recently canceled a care contract for violations of terms of service. A client opted to install it was a legacy client that brought on, not a site that I built. They demanded admin access, and I said, here are the terms for that. And they installed a new form plugin because they wanted a new contact form without reCAPTCHA, without any anti-spam honeypot.
Oh, no.
And then they deleted the security plugins, and
Of course they did.
I because it blocked something else they wanted to
Of
do,
course
which
it
was
did.
bad. And then I found myself with my mail server with 700,000 messages,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I had to cut them off. And they asked what the reason was, and I had to say, well, demanded, and this is one of the few clients that wanted access, and this is also why I sell care, because I manage those things. Most of my clients don't have access to install or update plugins because, as you know, they can break things, and we want to
Yep.
manage that. But that's a little story where not everyone needs full open capabilities to do things like that. And that's where, some of the closed platforms like Squarespace, Wix, they don't allow you any of that access. And that's also why they're not as customizable, because you can't get into the nitty-gritty of code. But it's, having unrestricted access is dangerous. But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Very few people log in. And even when I've had training tools and shown them how to do things, they still submit tickets and ask for work when they want to change a team member, update their address, and I'm happy to do that. And that's part of the service that I provide, which is great. And they're happy.
Yeah, me too. I would agree with you. So the moral of the story here is, as a business owner, leave yourself some options. Don't pigeon yourself in a hole. Um, Look at those options. Keep evaluating new options. I think that's what makes Ryan and I both very good at what we do. Is we're always, I mean, we have conversations almost daily about, did you read this? Did you see that? Did you do that? If you look at my newsletters, typically the one early in the week that goes up Monday or Tuesday, I almost always throw out some business owner tips there. Um, to say, okay, here's some ways to do things. Here's a tip on video. Here's a tip on AI. Here's some things to help you.
Mhm.
And sometimes I'll throw out personal growth tips and say, here's a way. One of the tips I threw out this week was how to manage your to-do list and some steps on that. So
Mhm.
the point is, as a business owner, you got to keep growing and keep your options open and look at them really hard. Right, Ryan? Anything else you want to add today?
Uh, no, I think we've covered it. And, the tool that you used yesterday may not be the tool that you want to use tomorrow. It
Agreed.
either doesn't fit your business or you've outgrown the tool.
Yep.
And, so when you evaluate new tools, don't don't just pigeonhole yourself into one CMS just because you're comfortable with it. Sometimes growth is painful, and looking out there, it doesn't have to be, but sometimes you need to look out and evaluate what's really best for you at this time. And it might not be what you used yesterday.
Yep. Before we go, I wanted to share, if you want to catch this episode or other back episodes of the agency chat Ryan and I do monthly, you can run over to my website, stunningdigitalmarketing.com, click on the podcast, and underneath you'll find there's a drop down for the agency chat Ryan and I do. If you click on that, it will just give you those episodes. So you can go check those out. Ryan, as always, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for joining me this month. And I saw we got through a podcast without the agency staff in the Waterbury household erupting and making noise today.
Uh, there's good reason for that. After spending the my entire Saturday trying to get into ER for X-rays, our more rambunctious office staff member is now on some sedatives and painkillers for a soft tissue injury.
Yeah, I'm
It
sorry about
helps.
that. I hope he gets well soon, and we'll be back with you next month. Thanks again, Ryan. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you very much for listening to the STM Show. The STM Show is brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, your digital concierge. For all your digital marketing needs, especially WordPress security, jump on over to stunningdigitalmarketing.com and let's help you put the pieces together and make your business succeed in the marketing realm. That's stunningdigitalmarketing.com. Very special thank you to my good friend Ryan for joining me on this edition of the STM Show. This podcast is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I love you. I miss you very much. And thanks for all the inspiration over the years and your caring, your understanding, and helping me grow as an individual. Thank you, Dad.